Hello everyone, this is Sairam, ECE third year BTech student from NIT Tiruchirappalli. I welcome you all to this info video about MyTax GRA. In this video, we will discuss about the procedure to apply for MyTax GRA. We will also discuss the tips, do's and don'ts, and also the various experiences from our guest speaker. For this session, I am very happy to inform you that we have a special guest speaker. He is Devjyoti Chatterjee, 2020 alumnus from NIT Tiruchirappalli. He is also MyTax GRA 19, Indian Academy of Sciences SRFT 18 scholar. He is currently pursuing his Masters plus PhD at University of Texas, Austin. So without further delay, let's meet him. Hello Devjyoti. Could you give us a
Hel-
brief intro?
Hello, Saidam. Thank you so much for the nice introduction, and also thank you to the History Association for arranging this info session regarding internships and all. And I guess it will be very helpful for the current students. So yeah, talking about myself, yeah, I am Devjyoti Chatterjee. I graduated from NIT Trichy in 2020 from Electrical and Electronics department, and then I joined University of Texas at Austin in spring 2021 as an integrated master's plus PhD student. So currently I am working in modeling of grid forming inverters in microgrid system with Professor Surya Santoso. So yeah, I did my MyTex internships in 2019 in the University of Waterloo, and it was a great experience. So yeah, that's all about me.
That's that is very amazing profile. Yeah. So let's
So
jump into the session. The requirements for the MyTax GRA. And could you give us like brief intro about the MyTax GRA, what it is?
yeah, yeah, sure. So MyTex is a well-planned 12 weeks internship process for pre-final year students. So it is funded by MyTex Canada and also by MHRD India. So before coming to the requirements, let's come to the few interesting facts about MyTex. So it's not specifically for MyTex. I can say that it's for all internship process. So whenever you are applying to any internship, I guess you should know the background, like what is this internship for and what their aim is. So let's talk about MyTex. So aim of the MyTex is to make Canada as a knowledge creating country, just like its neighbor United States. So when they are offering you an internships, their main idea is to attract bright students from all over the world, and they want you to come back to their country after your undergraduate and pursue higher studies in Canada. So they use MyTech summer internships as a medium so that you can get accustomed with the research culture, lifestyle of Canada, and then you can make an informed decision of coming back to Canada for your master's or PhD. So that's whole idea about the MyTex. So whenever you are applying for MyTex, you should craft your application process in such a way that as a whole, it should express your strong determination and your interest of pursuing higher studies in Canada. And that's what they actually want, right? So yeah, that's all about MyTex.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And so coming to the requirements of MyTex, so first thing is CGPA that varies from country to country. For India, I guess it's 8 plus. You have to have a CGPA of more than 8 out of 10 to be eligible. And the thing is, I used to get many messages from my juniors like, bro, I have something around 8.2 or 3. Should I apply? I don't have something around 9.5 or more. I am eligible, but am I good enough to getting the offer? So My answer is yes. I will highly encourage everyone, whoever has more than 8. I know many students having around 8 to 8.5, and they got some excellent offer from University of Toronto and British Columbia. So my text doesn't judge you based on just your CGPA. It will look your overall profile, and then they will make a decision. So whoever has more than 8 CGPA, I highly encourage you to apply for my text. Coming to the research experience, yes, of course, it will add value if you have some prior experience of working in this field. Probably in your second year, you have done some summer intensives, maybe from some industry or some IITs or somewhere else, or maybe you are doing some project under any professors in your department. So you can write about those things in your SOP. So we'll come to SOP part in detail. So yes, that previous research experience helps a lot. Foreign language and test, that I am not sure what's the current criteria now, but I guess when I applied in 2018, that was not a requirement for Indian students. So they may encourage you to submit a TOEFL score or IELTS score, but it's okay if you don't have, and that's completely fine. And passport, you should, yes, of course, have a passport, and it should be valid after 6 months when you are applying. So if you are applying for maybe for summer 2022, then your passport should be valid up to maybe January 2023, something like that. And you should check all these details in MyTech's website. You will get detailed information. I am just talking about whatever I remember from my experience. Coming to the documents, so you need transcript. You have to submit your official transcript, and then you have to submit your CV, statement of purpose, and letter of recommendation. So you need at least one or maximum two LOR. I'll suggest if you can submit two LORs, that's the best thing. So maybe you can take one LOR from your any professor with whom you have taken some classes, who know you very well. Another LOR you can take from your research advisor. Probably in second year summer you have done some internships. So from that advisor you can take one LOR. So the idea about the LOR is it doesn't matter whether you are taking some LOR from a very big short name or very famous professor or something. What matter is it should be very customized. The professor should know you very well, so that he can write like specifically about you. Like it should not be like, yes, yeah, I know Saidam, he's a very good student, he's a very bright student. It should not be like that. It should be like, yes, Saidam has taken some classes with me and he was very attentive. He used to take regular exams. He did well in the exam. He used to ask many questions, and we had a great discussion. So it should be crafted in such a way that the readers who are reading your application process, they should get a feel that that person knows you very well. That's why he is recommending you. Coming to the statement of purpose, so unlike other intensive process, like in other intensive process, you may have to submit a 500 to 1000 word long paragraph. So in case of MyText, they have broken down it into several questions. So it's not a long paragraph. You have to write several questions in within specific word limits. So I'll come back to SOP in details later. In CV, in MyTech's website, you can find a template of how to write a CV, but I recommend you, you can follow this, but you should not use this template because it doesn't look very professional. So you should craft your own CV. Some like probably you have prior experience of applying in company internships. Maybe you have some prepared one CV for TNP. So you can prepare same kind of CV for MyTex as well, giving more focus on your research interest, on what kind of projects you have already done, what skills you have, like more on the academic side. So that's why you can make a good CV. And I guess that's all you need for MyTex application.
And if any student doesn't have prior research experience, but he want to do any MyTax intern, is there any chance that he would get
Yeah,
my
of course, like of course he has chance. So you still, so MyTex will start from next summer, right? So you still have a lot of time, almost 1 year, I guess, almost six, at least 8 to 10 months. So what he can do is he start doing some research project under any professor in the department, and then he can write about what he is doing now and what he is expecting to do. So we don't keep it blank that I don't have any research experience. Don't make something, don't create any negative negatives expression, something like that, but write something about that I have started doing one project under this professor and we are doing this, we are planning to achieve this goal, and so till now we have completed these things. Maybe we are doing something in hardware, we have completed the simulation parts, we are expecting this result. So you can craft your SOP something in that flow, like you should show that you are interested in research, that's why you are applying for MyTex. So it's better not to write that you don't have any research experience. Better write something you have started doing and you are expecting to achieving some result.
that's great.
Yeah,
And okay, can we choose domains like which we are not studying, like if I am studying in ECE currently,
yeah.
can I choose a project from CS department like
Of
AML?
if you have prior experience, of course you can. Like if you are from EC, you can choose projects from. If you have interest, you can choose project from history department as well. There is no such limitation that you can't do this. But you should have a strong motivation behind this, why you are doing in your SOP. You should clarify that what is your motivation and what are you expecting by doing this. And it's great if you have prior experience in this field, that will add more value. But yeah, you are feel free to add any department projects. You can choose from any professor from any university, you can do that, but you have to validate that why you are doing this.
Let's talk about the benefits that we get from the MyTax CRA program. Okay, what stipend, what can we expect from that? It's a free Canada to travel, right? Can we?
Yeah, stipend is pretty good, and I guess it's enough, more than enough. Like I can tell you, it will cover. They will give you around 8,000 Canadian dollar, and it will cover all your expense, your flight in and out, and then your living cost, accommodation, everything. It will be covered by that amount. So even when I was doing internship, we used to travel a lot in the weekends, and even after that, we saved a lot of money. So stipend is pretty good. You will get world-class research opportunities in top-class universities in the world, like University of Toronto, British Columbia, Alberta, Waterloo. They are among top 50 universities in the world, and they have amazing research labs. Then you don't get some you may get a visa advisory, you can ask them how to proceed and all, but you can't expect any visa support from them. But it's pretty straightforward application of Canadian visa, and it's very simple, not like US visa. So you will easily get that. You don't have to worry much about visa and all. Uh, Value of the certificate, I will say that value of the experience is much more than the certificate. What you learn there, what kind of experience you will gain from these 3 months, that's amazing. That will add more values whenever you are applying for your higher studies and all. One more benefit is you can expect a LOR, letter of recommendation, from the professor with whom you are working. So they have world class researcher in Canadian universities, and if they recommend you, that will be a great plus point in your application whenever you are applying for masters or PhD. And the most major benefit of the MITEX is, if you plan to go back to Canada for your higher studies, you are if you are a MITEX scholar, you are eligible for MITEX graduate fellowship. So you can apply for that, and if you get that scholarship, it will cover around 10,000 Canadian dollar for your masters, and if you are a PhD student, it will cover around 20 to 30,000 Canadian dollar in 2 to 3 years. So that's a huge benefit. That's what I was talking in the beginning, that they expect you that you will, after gaining the research experience, you will complete your undergrad from your home country, and you will use that opportunity and come back to Canada to do your masters. And they will help you in all possible ways. MITEX is a broad community, it's a global community. They will allot mentor. There are global ambassadors for MITEX. You will get help in your application process when you are applying for masters and PhD. Even they are helping you with finance. They are giving you pretty good amount of scholarship. So and that's a huge benefit of MITEX. Like if you want to go back to Canada for your masters, you should consider MITEX.
And we also heard that MITEX also
Mhm.
conducts various programs in the research intern during the research intern itself, like various
Yeah.
leadership and
So
community
uh,
programs.
uh, you are talking about like with companies and all.
Yeah, yeah.
that may
During
that may that may depend on the universities, in which universities you are doing your internship. So they may organize something, some career fair kind of thing for all MITEX scholars. MITEX in general doesn't conduct anything like career fair or something kind of that. But what they do is they will allot a mentor for you at the beginning, and so it's pretty interesting thing. So what they will do is they will allot a mentor. One mentor will be handling five mentees, five MITEX mentees, and he or she is be given around 500 Canadian dollar, and he or she can use these in accommodation, and not in accommodation, in transportation from airport to your accommodation, and accommodation to your airport, and also he or she can arrange some trips for you. So what MITEX encourages is that mentors should arrange some 2 to 3 trips in 3 months. So we got a very chill and supportive mentor, and we traveled a lot with her. We had three mentors under her, and we traveled a lot in free of cost. So that MITEX will do for you.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You get to enjoy and plus you get to do research in one more class
Yeah,
facility.
yeah, like in Canada and all, it's like work hard in weekdays and party hard in weekends. So they won't expect you to work in your weekends and Saturdays and Sundays. Whatever you want to do, you do from Monday to Friday, and from Friday night, you can do whatever you want. So we used to travel a lot throughout the country in 12 weeks. Like we made 12 trips in 12 weeks, kind of that.
Great.
Yeah.
And the next one, writing SOP, the biggest task.
True. So SOP is probably the most important thing, and as I told that they will ask you several questions based on your first thing is on your research interest, second maybe about your skill sets, then your achievements, and then your previous research experience, what kind of projects you have completed, and then the most important part is your research rationale, like why are you choosing MITEX or in general Canada. So these are 4 to 5 different parts in SOPs. So I may talk about in brief in all these parts. So coming to the research interest. So so before beginning this, so each part has specific word limits. So maybe 50 to 100 for each part. So you are not supposed to repeat any information in any part of the application. You have to optimize your content. So whatever you are writing in your CV, you don't need to repeat them again in your SOP. That's how you can optimize your content. So in your research interest, what they are expecting is they want to figure out that what kind of project you want to work, and in what kind of project the professors in Canadian universities are working, so they can match out with you with a suitable professor, right? So you should use the very to the point answer. You have to write to the point answer. You have to be very clear. But one trick is like you should not be very specific about your research interest. What the problem here is, suppose in my text they will allow you to choose 7 different projects. So suppose among these 7 projects you want to get into 1 or 2 projects very badly. You like this project very much, and you are like, yeah, if I get this project, that will be awesome. So when you are writing your research interest, you will have that thing in mind that I want to do this project. So when you are writing your research interest, maybe you can focus more only to this project. So the idea is it should be general, it should cover all 7 projects, but again, it should not be something like one thing you are choosing like embedded system, another you are choosing something from electric vehicle, another in computer architecture. It should not be like that. It should be in coherence with the projects, whatever you are choosing, but it should not be very too specific. You should give a general idea of what kind of work you like. So that's the catch in research interest. Coming to the skill set, in every project, when you go into the MITEX website, they have their requirements, right? What kind of skill sets they are expecting from you. So there are software requirements like you should know the C++ or Python. You should know some specific software, maybe AutoCAD or MATLAB. Again, there are some soft skill requirement like you should be very fluent in communication, you should be able to manage a team, you should be very good in writing technical papers or something. So whichever project you are applying, you should first read all the requirements for this project, and based on that you have to write your skill set part. So whatever project you want to do, first read the skill set and then write what skill set. First check whether you have those skill set, and if yes, then of course write those skill set in your SOP. Third point is they'll ask you about your achievements. So it's like they want to measure your worth, how you stand out from other students, from your peers. So you should write about your academic achievement, and then your co-curricular as well as your extracurricular achievements. In academic achievements, you can write your CGPA, and if you are maybe top 3 or top 5 in the department, you can write about your rankings, or maybe you are in top 3 in your institute, so you can mention about your institute rankings. And maybe you are state topper or something, you have a state rank holder in your class 12, you should mention that as well. maybe you are KVPR or NTSC scholar, mention all those academic achievements in brief in your SOP. Then in co-curricular and extracurricular, suppose you have attended some seminar, you have won some prize in some workshop or something, you have done some poster presentation in some national level conference, maybe you are heading a team in college fest or something, about your position of responsibility, you can include all those things within a specific word limit. So focus more on academic achievements. At the same time, you should reflect your leadership skills as well as co-curricular activities. That's the whole point of achievements parts. Then coming to the research, what kind of research you have done? I already told, if you have done some internship in your second year, if you have done some projects with any professor in your department, or maybe you have published some paper that will add more value. So you should mention all those things in that, what kind of research you completed, there are something like that, and you should write down those in that order. Next thing is research rationale, like why are you choosing MyTex or why are you choosing Canada? And that's the most important part of whole the application process, I guess. So here the catch is, you have to write your academic motivation as well as cultural and social motivation. In academic motivation, you have to write what is your long-term goal and as well as your short-term goal, and how MyTex can help you in achieving your goal. Suppose you want to become a professor, you want to see yourself as a professor in a leading universities in 10 years down the line. So that is the long term goal. So what's the short term goal for this? So to achieve this, you should complete your masters and PhD. So you want to become a professor, that's your long term goal. For that you want to pursue a master's or PhD, that's your short term goal. And then how MyTex can help you in achieving these goals? So yes, MyTex can help you a lot, because if you are a MyTex scholar, you can get accustomed with the research environment in Canada, and then they will assist you in providing financial help when you, if you want to come back to Canada. So you can craft your this part in that way, that I want to become this and that, and MyTex can provide me a staircase to achieve my dream. So that's why I want to do take part in this in this internship program. So that's your academic motivation, academics as well as professional motivation. It will help you to achieve your dream. That's what MyTex is. That's kind of answer MyTex is expecting from you. Uh, Second thing is, not only academic motivation, it should mention about, you should mention about your social and cultural motivation, and that's the part where probably you have to praise a little bit about Canada. So, and even from my experience, I can say that Canada is very welcoming country for international students. Is a multicultural country, and it's very open, diversified community. So you have to mention about these things. So this kind of environments you feel is very attracting for your professional development, and that's why you want to choose Canada over some other countries. So as a whole, so these questions is the summary of your whole application process. What you can contribute if you get the opportunity, and what you are expecting from MyTex. So you have to explain all these things within 100 or 150 words. I didn't remember the limit, but it's something like 100 to 200 words. So you have to write a conclusive statement that yes, that's my dream, and I am pretty much confident that MyTex will help me achieving my dream. So it's you have to craft this part in that way, and that's all about writing an SOP.
That's very good and very informative. We get a lot of tips from you. And one one more thing is that what kind of software, like use for the like checking the grammar of the SOP?
You can use the Grammarly. You can use the free version of Grammarly. That's totally fine.
And they expect us to be very proficient in that SOP, or like they expect us.
Of course, yes, it's very professional that it should be neat and clean and free from any grammatical errors. So when you are expecting offer from some leading universities in the world, they are expecting that you will be professional as well.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. Choosing a
Mhm.
project. We are given 7 options. We have to choose minimum of three and maximum of 10. So we
Yes.
should be very particular about the project we have to choose.
Yeah. So for that, it's a like pretty time consuming things. Like I invested more than a month probably to finalize my 7 projects. So what you should do is you first make a Excel sheet, write the project name, and make different columns. Write the project name, then the university name, then the province name. I'm telling why the province name is important. Province name, and then the supervisor. Yeah, that's all in it. Then probably you are interested in specific field, maybe in embedded system, maybe in electric vehicles or some other things. So you first sort MyTex. In MyTex website, there are predefined projects, thousands of predefined projects. From there, you have to choose 7 projects from at least 3 different provinces. So in Canada, there are 7 provinces, I guess. So among 7 provinces, you all your 7 projects should be from such universities so that they are diversified at least among 3 different provinces. So first shortlist all the projects in which you feel that you may be interested. Even if you are having slight interest, you include that project in your Excel sheet. Make a list of 25, 30, 40, 50. That doesn't matter. First make a project list of 30 projects maybe. Then after making that whole list, may add different levels in your Excel sheet, like whether like add preference, like whether this is completely aligned to your research interest, whether you maybe used to do something, you have done something in your undergrad, so you know this idea, kind of that kind of project, and some kind of project that you may be interested but you don't have much idea. So keep 3 different levels in which you are totally familiar with this topic and you have high chance of getting into that project. So these are safe projects for you. Keep some moderate projects, and then keep some projects in which you are not very familiar but you feel these projects may be interesting for you. Other than these levels, you can add another kind of levels, like there may be some universities, if you apply to University of Toronto or British Columbia, these universities are pretty much competitive, but that doesn't mean that you should not apply to these universities. It's all matters is how good your profile is and how your project is aligned with your past research experience. But at the same time, you should keep in mind that you should not apply to all ambitious projects from all top tier universities. You should keep at least 2 to 3 uh, middle order, like safe universities where you are pretty much sure that you should get with your profile. So then again, you can make 3 different levels: ambitious project, moderate project, and safe project. And use different colors, maybe from in projects you think you are difficult to get for you, use red, and then moderate, use yellow, and in which projects you think it's safe for you, use green color. So after using these sort of things, you get a clear idea and you can sort out the projects. And after keep repeating these things, you can now finalize 7 to 8 projects for which are matching to your profile. So that's how we can select 7 projects. And while selecting the projects, main idea is uh, it should be aligned with your research interest, what kind of research you have done. Don't apply to projects. It's very good idea to explore some different field, but you will have lesser chance. They will of course prefer some students who have prior experience in working this field because they have to invest less time in mentoring the students. So yeah, so apply the main idea while project selection is it's better if you have a prior experience of working in that kind of in that track, and if you're familiar with the tools they have mentioned in the skill set requirement, and based on that you should select the project. You should not blindly follow the university as well, like this is a top notch university, so I should apply to only these universities. It may happen that there are not so great universities but having great project they are doing. So project is more important rather than the university. So I was pretty much confused when I was applying that should I apply to more ambitious universities or should I go for good project. So of course this is a trade-off. Sometimes you won't get any project aligned with your research interest in a top universities, and you may find some very good project in a universities which is not very known. So it's a great idea to having some trade-off in your 7 project. Apply to some good universities, apply to some good projects, and it should be balanced. That's what I mean. And also, again, one more interesting thing regarding the project selection. So uh, again, you have to understand that how MyTech selection process works. So no one knows. MyTex never reveals that how it actually happens, how they select students. But from our experience, what I have heard from our seniors, from our juniors, what I have seen from my year. So how it works is, so MyTex will tell you to submit 7 project with the professor's name with preference from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 7. So they select all these project list from all over all students. Then they will accumulate all the projects under, like you are applying to a professor, some ex-professor. MyTex will accumulate all the students who have applied to this professor. Suppose there are 10 students want that project. They have applied, they keep that project in their preference list, and suppose you keep that project in your first preference. Some students may keep that in your second, some student may keep that in their seventh position. They will accumulate all 10 students name who applied to that professor. Then what MyTex will do is they will send the student's name with their profile, with their application to the professor, but not the preference order. Suppose, Sairam, you applied to some X project under some professor and you kept that project in your second preference list. Professor X knows that you have applied to that project, but he doesn't know that you keep that project in your second preference list. He has all the profile of all the students. He will review all the students. Then what MyTex will tell the professor is, now professor, you send us the preference. Suppose from the 10 students, he wants you. So he will keep you in his first position. So he will set another preference list from 1 to 10. And then MyTex, so the catch here is, if the professor wants you, that doesn't confirm your offer. So I heard many times that I talked to a professor, we had a great interview, still I didn't get the offer. Why this happened? Professor told that yes, I want your profile, I like it so much, but I then get rejection later. How this can happen? So this happens because, so probably that professor kept you in his first preference, but probably you kept this project in your seventh preference. Suppose the professor kept another student in his second preference and that guy kept him in his first preference. So it's a good match that that student want keep him as a first preference and the professor also keep him as a second preference, rather than the professor keeps the student in first preference and the student keeps him in the seventh preference. So it's a like matchmaking. So if the professor wants you very badly, he is very much impressed in your profile, that doesn't mean you will get an offer. It all means that it should be in high priority, that project should be high priority in your preference list, as well that you should be in the high priority in the professor's priority list, so that it will be easier for my test to make a match. So when, many times students ask that how the preference order matters. Does it really matter? It matters a lot. If you keep a project in seventh position, that means you are not much interested compared to the project you are placed in first position, right? So you keep those projects you want them, you want to get accepted, like keep these projects in your up to preference order 3 to 4, and the projects you think that you may not get or it's difficult to get or you don't like that much, you keep that project in fifth, sixth or seventh. So in most cases, I have seen that students who got into the projects in which they kept in from maybe 1 to 4. Even I got interviewed for the project I kept in first order. It was not so good. So probably professor didn't keep me in his like top order preference. So I didn't get the project. But the project I kept in third preference, I got into that project. So yes, preference matters a lot. You have to be very serious and you have to take a very informed decision while submit the preference list. Yeah, that's all.
That's very good info that may not be available, I guess, in any website or in a
Yeah,
Google.
yeah, that's true. That you can, that kind of info you can get from the past students only.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Experience. You share the most of the experience.
Yeah, so
Anything left behind?
yeah, I told everything. Yeah, I had a very good experience. Like it was a fun environment in Canada. Canada is very much welcoming country. We had a very fun time. We worked a lot and we had fun, more than that probably. So it's had a great work-life balance in Canadian universities. Is great world-class opportunities, and you should utilize that. At the same time, you should had fun. That's what we did. Like I did my internships in University of Waterloo. Waterloo is a peaceful student city. There is nothing much in that, but it's very close to Toronto. So we visited Toronto very frequently. We had some other students doing internship in Toronto, so we stayed there, roamed around here and there, and had a lot of fun. So if you get into MyTex, I can assure you that you had the best 3 months of your life in Canada.
Yeah, that's for true. For
Yeah.
true. Any other suggestion you want to give us? Anything? Any other?
Uh, Again, probably I have mentioned everything. But yeah, the most important thing is I told you, like many times students are shy of applying into intensive, thinking about that maybe I don't have a fancy 9.5 kind of CGPA. Probably I don't get into the intensive, but it's not like that. Anyone having 8 plus, if you are eligible, please apply to these kind of intensives. Not only MyTex, wherever wherever you are getting the acceptance, that doesn't matter much, but the experience of application, that means a lot. Same kind of things you have to experience again when you will be applying for your grad school. So it will be set a stage for you. You will understand that what kind of profile you should they are expecting, and you will have enough time in your hand to prepare yourself for your grad school. So this experience matters a lot, I will say. And one more thing, that all these application process, these are not a magic kind of thing, like you sit one fine morning and you will craft your whole application process in a day and you will submit. You can't expect your offer in such a way. You have to be very prepared. Like, start writing your application process, SOP and everything well advanced, and then every day, like, modify it again and again. Read your SOP, modify it again and again. And whenever you will feel that you have crafted a decent SOP, decent application, send it to your seniors, whoever you knows. Like, don't be shy. Don't think that they're very busy. So what they think, don't do that. Send. I know, like, I have done that, and they're very helpful in my case. And again, so send them to review, and their inputs matters a lot. Like, they have same kind of experience, they have passed through that application process, so they know better than you. So you should get reviewed your application process, application essays and everything by your seniors. So get inputs from them, modify it again. So it's a cyclic process. The many times you will modify it, it will be close to perfect. So invest more time in writing SOPs. In many cases, probably your professors will tell you to draft a recommendation letter for you, and probably they'll just modify it. So ask your senior to send some sample SOP, if they can, sample SOP and LOR. Read those, but don't copy those. Write in your own sentences, and then again take their help and modify it again and again. That's why you can, like, craft a excellent application. And if you give your effort, I guess, and with your good profile, it's not very hard to get into some dream internships.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess came to the end of the session. It's very nice talking to you. It's very nice. Like, it's a lot of
Yeah,
information and very informative. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a lot of
I
interesting and useful
yeah,
info you gave.
I'll be very happy if the students find this helpful, and I am always available. You have my mail ID and a LinkedIn profile. If any students want to connect with me for their any help for the internships application or any kind of help for their grad school application, I'll be more than happy to help.
That's that's Thanks so much. We, the students of ECE and ECE Association, appreciate your efforts to help us, and I hope that many students will find this video useful for the next few years. That's for sure. And wish you all the best for all your future endeavors and successful in the field of interest. Thank you for dedicating your valuable time for us. Our students will find this very useful. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much, Sairam, and again, thank you so much, HISI Association. I am pretty sure that students will find it very helpful.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much.